Today's drawing is a landscape drawing of your choice, and you are also including a converging road. We learned how to do that last week, where we drew a horizon and then a triangle that becomes a road going into the distance. This will be a summative assessment of everything you have learned so far about how to draw a landscape. A summative assessment means that you are taking all of the ideas and facts about how to draw a landscape and putting them in one picture so that you can show me what you have learned this quarter. Today you will draw only one picture of a landscape from your imagination. You will not copy the teacher examples. This isn't about copying my picture. This is about using your own ideas and maybe borrowing some of the ideas that I'm providing for you. But the main point of this is to show me what you have learned about how to draw a landscape. This is an example of what your picture might look like at the end. Fill up the whole paper, include the converging road, some items in the background, some items in the front, and then you can add other details as you go along. I'm going to draw 4 pictures at once today, and you can choose what items you want to borrow and put in your own picture. First, I'm drawing the horizon line. I'm drawing it 4 different ways. First, I drew the horizon right in the middle of the paper. Then I drew the horizon very high on the paper. I drew the horizon very low on the paper. And then next, I made a wavy line for the horizon. You can pick which one you want to use in your picture. I'm adding the converging lines for the road. So drawing 2 slanted lines or diagonal lines going to the horizon from the corners of the paper. The converging lines could be on the right or the left of the horizon line. They could be straight lines or curved lines. Or you could have very wavy lines that could look like a wavy, windy path through the woods, or it could look like a river. This does not have to be a road or a path. It could also be a stream or a river. Add something on the horizon line. So think about the setting of your landscape. The first drawing I'm making is a city in the background. So I made some very bumpy lines, straight lines that are bumping up and down to create a city skyline. Then I'm creating a mountain landscape in the next drawing. So a jagged or zigzag line. In the next drawing, I'm going to create kind of a hill in the background. And then I'm creating a series of hills, so some bumpy lines that are going across the whole landscape. Draw something close to the viewer, so something in the very front. In the cityscape, I'm drawing 2 lampposts. So draw one close to the viewer, so that one's going to be the largest. Then draw the same thing somewhere farther away. In the next drawing, I'm making a desert. So I'm going to draw a tumbleweed in the front that's much larger, and then a tumbleweed in the back that's very much smaller. And I'm adding a couple of trees or cactuses, one very small one in the back on top of the horizon line, and one larger one kind of in the middle of the picture. You could also add trees. Just make sure you have a larger one in front and a smaller one in the back. Or you could add shrubs. It doesn't have to be any of these if you have a different idea. Just make sure you're drawing 2 of them, one large one closer to us and one smaller one a little farther away. Then continue to add some details to your landscape. So think about this setting. Where do you want this landscape to be? What should be in the landscape? You can add some trees, some more shrubs. You can add more of the things you already started to draw. You could add some animals. You could add people playing a game. Maybe they're at a park playing a football game. Maybe there are people out enjoying nature. Maybe there's a lot of heavy traffic and you want to add a lot of cars on the road. Later on in this video, I will show how to draw a car on the road. I'm adding lots of little tiny trees in this picture, so I'm making lots of little squiggly lines in the very background to look like the tops of trees off in the distance. And then in the last picture, I'm adding the same type of tree but getting very small as I get to the back of the picture. And I'm continuing to draw the river on the hills that I drew in the picture. Next thing I would like you to do is add some kind of living person or living animal in your picture. So living being. I'm making a park bench and a person sitting on the park bench. I'm not worried about details in this picture, so if you're not very comfortable drawing a person, you can make a stick person, color in the details, make it like a silhouette. I'm okay with that. The next picture, I am drawing a person on a motorcycle, so I am making sure to draw the motorcycle first and then drawing the person on top. So just like with the person on the park bench, I'm just coloring him in and making him a silhouette so there's no details that I have to worry about. The main purpose of this picture is to be a landscape, so you do not have to have very good details in the people in your picture. It's really just about what the land looks like and what nature looks like. You can add some animals that would fit into your landscape. So I added a little squirrel by the tree. And then in the last one, I'm going to add a deer. What time of day is it in your picture? The first picture I have, it's nighttime. The second picture is daytime, and I'm adding a few clouds. To draw clouds, I have a very straight line on the bottom of the cloud and then a bumpy line on the top. The third picture, I added a rainbow, so I'm going to have it be sort of rainy weather with a rainbow. And then in the last picture, I drew the sun, and I'll have kind of a sunny day. Some of you might want to add a car to your drawing. So this is kind of a simple way to draw a car. I'm starting with kind of a boxy shape for the front of the car and the hood of the car. And I'm curving the hood of the car. The hood is the place where the engine is. And I'm also adding the roof of the car. That's where the person and the people in the car would go inside. I added 2 rectangles for the tires in the front and 2 rectangles for the headlights of the car. I'm adding a silhouette of a person driving the car, and they are going to be closer to the middle of the road. I'm adding another car on the other side so you can see what it looks like to draw a car that is driving away from you. So it's almost the same thing. I drew the straight line on the bottom and a curved line for the trunk of the car, and then I added the other curved line above that to be the place where people sit in the car. I'm adding curved lines to show where the trunk of the car would be, where you can open up the trunk. And I also added some rectangular lines for the rear lights. And then I'm adding curved lines for the tires of the car. And since the road is curving, you're going to see a little bit of the side of this car. So you probably see like the side door. You would also see all 4 tires of the car. and you can add a driver to the vehicle. The driver would be closer to the middle of the road. The last thing I'm doing in my drawing is adding color, and I'm using colored pencils to color this in. If you have something else that you would rather use or something else available to use to color in your picture, please do that. Color in the entire piece of paper. Don't leave anything empty unless it is white like a cloud or snow. If you do not yet have items to color with and you need to tell your parents or whoever you are staying with right now, if you need to go get something, please tell them. I would recommend getting a box of colored pencils because we will be doing coloring for the rest of the year, and colored pencils will be the best option for what we are going to do. This is how you will turn in the assignment. First, go to classwork and click on the assignment and view assignment. This drawing is worth 10 points. This is worth more points than some of the other assignments. Each of these requirements is worth 2 points, and these were things that I wrote on the video. The horizon and converging lines to make a road or a river, a background that is drawn on the horizon line, so the setting of your landscape, details and objects that are drawn in the landscape. So those would be the trees, shrubs, any other things you put in your landscape. Drawing a person or an animal in the landscape or a car, I could include that. And then finally coloring the whole drawing. Click on the drawing here under your work, and it says go to insert image and camera to take a photo of your work. So insert is up here, image is underneath it, and then move all the way over and down to camera, and that will open up your computer camera. Since I have a document camera plugged in, it's showing what is on my table. You are only going to have one drawing, so you should make that picture nice and large. Make sure you have good lighting so I can see all of the work you put into it. Take a photo by pushing on this yellow button and then click insert, and then it shows up here on the drawing. And you can click on the corners to make your picture bigger. The last thing to do is go back to the classroom tab and click turn in. So go back to this tab, click turn in.